Look at the headline that we see in the BBC. The London Telegraph has a similar headline. Extremists are going to be forced to go to anti-extremist classes. And then you read the article, or articles, the government talking point, it's like, it's so mean, it's so horrible. They're jihad fighters for ISIS and Al-Qaeda that left the UK in the last 5 years to battle the evil dictator Assad. And now they're coming back to England. And, of course, they're not going to be locked up for their terrorist activities because they're a proxy army of the West. But then how do you hide that? You put it out as a civil rights article. Can you believe what they're going to make ISIS and Al-Qaeda fighters do after returning from blowing up churches, chopping men, women, and children's heads off, forcing Shiite Muslims to suicide bomb for them, or they'll kill their whole families, beheading priests, raping nuns, selling 5- and 6-year-old girls by the thousands into sex slavery? They're going to make Jeffrey Dahmer, who was found with a bunch of dead bodies in his refrigerator, go to a class. That is one article of literally over 100 insane asylum stories, just to show how crazy all this is. I have a very special video that I came up here and I shot yesterday afternoon, and it went out late last night. And I'm going to be shooting these videos every couple days. We're putting together investigative reports, special reports, mini documentaries. I am going whole hog on exposing how they're rigging the whole system against the American people, the American voter, and Donald Trump, and really reaching out to the Bernie Sanders voters. Every one of them I talk to is voting for Hillary. I can't find real Hillary supporters anywhere in the country, even in Democrat cities, and no one else really can, except for very rich elite areas. And so I'm going to be illustrating this the next 3 months up to this election. And I'm going to be pointing out as well that just as Trump made it a big deal that the Republicans were stealing states from him that he won and just giving the delegates to Ted Cruz, you'd hear Trump won Louisiana, and then a week later, but the delegates have been given to Ted Cruz. Or, we're not going to let you vote in Colorado because the polls show Trump's going to have a landslide. We're just canceling the election, and the party says it's Ted Cruz. Well, Trump didn't go along with that. And the media said, oh, you miscalculated, sore loser. And he said, I'm not a loser. You're stealing it. You're stealing the voters' votes. The Republican establishment had to back off. The Democrats didn't. The Democrats didn't. You got a lot of their mental patient mainline Republicans who aren't real conservatives but are cuckold conservatives who just love being part of this old snot-nosed blue blood Rockefeller Republican country club group who are the snot-nosed racist just liberal version of a Republican. The never-Trump people still run around messianically with their cowboy hats. And I talked to a bunch of them. I said, you got any cattle? You know how to use a lariat? You ever dehorned with an electric dehorner? You ever processed 2,000 head of cattle in one day? Because I have, and I don't consider myself to be a cowboy. They're still cowboys, by the way. They work about 12, 14 hours a day, and they are amazing. And they have a dangerous job. And I don't know what it is about wearing a cowboy hat. It's, oh, we're for Hillary, not Trump. We wear a cowboy hat, so it's all right. If I see one more cowboy hat in association with it, I'm going to throw up. But I digress. We've proven we've got our finger on the pulse of the globalists. We know how to defeat them. And I'm lobbying directly to Trump here on air. People say, why don't you just tell him? Well, I have. But the point is, to some of his crew, who are smart folks, they're just trying to decide how to go at this. And he's trying to decide, basically, does he launch it now or launch it later? I think the whole theme is crooked Hillary. From the emails to Google not even listing Trump in election searches to fake polls. Like, I didn't see it in my stack. Will you guys pull me the articles on Infowars.com with Reuters now admits they skewed a poll because Trump was ahead to cheat him and take him out of the lead?
In 1993, Hillary Clinton ordered Vince Foster's dead body to be moved and dumped to avoid a murder investigation. New York Times best-selling author Roger Stone names names. The Clintons' War on Women, in stores now.
Are you going to stand for free and open elections? Are you going to stand against corruption? Or are you going to allow the next level of tyranny and crookedness and a rigged system to openly be practiced in this country. I shot a special report yesterday that's really an announcement. It's titled, An Emergency Message to Donald Trump. It's red-linked on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com right now. We tweeted it out at Real Alex Jones. Please retweet it. It's also posted on our Facebook channels. And in it, I lay out the fact that Infowars, starting yesterday, is going to be producing mini documentaries, political factoid news reports, investigative journal reports, chronicling the entire giant spectrum of rigging that is going on, from Google admitting they don't list Donald Trump as, quote, a presidential candidate on their page. Twitter admitting they've been blocking Donald Trump tweets being shared. Facebook engaged in massive censorship across the board. There's even congressional investigations. It is truly unprecedented. So whether you love Donald Trump or hate him, you have to understand, they tried in more than 14 states to give the votes that Donald Trump got, winning Louisiana, Colorado, and countless other states, to Ted Cruz. And Donald Trump didn't play along with it. He didn't go along with it like Bernie Sanders. And that's when suddenly you started seeing Cruz sink in the polls, despite the mainstream media trying to prop him up. Now, the Democrats are in Politico. They're in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. And I happen to know from some high-level political consultants that have been meeting with the Democrats and who are our quislings that they believe that they're going to be able to get enough never-Trump people to vote in Texas to be able to throw the state Democrat, and if Trump loses Texas, he will lose the election. Have the second most delegates. And I've been around these Cruz people. They are mentally ill. They are a cult. You've got Glenn Beck on ABC News with Democratic operatives saying, don't vote for Trump, vote for somebody else. Well, that's a vote for Hillary. You look at the Electoral College, to see my beloved Texas hijacked by that Canadian-Cuban carpetbagger. Scallywag of the highest order. And to see, I mean, he fits the definition in spades. If Texas does this, I'm going to be completely ashamed. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't think Texas will, because we keep our word around here, and Ted Cruz broke his. But I am, and by the way, I used to admire Ted Cruz. He's very well-spoken, very smart. I said, yeah, his wife's Goldman Sachs. Yeah, he came up with the Bushes, but maybe he's turning against him. But boy, I tell you, he absolutely did a 180, and it is so sad. And you've got a bunch of spiteful so-called Texans, big hats, no cattle, wearing their Texas shirts, who think that they're going to do this. In fact, they don't even need to get enough of them to go vote for Cruz as a throwaway vote to throw it to Hillary. They just need to create that perception so people believe Texas goes for Hillary. They just have to have plausible deniability. And I hope if that happens, they're very, very, very proud of themselves, and they frame their little Texas shirts they wear and their little cowboy hats and their little boots that never stepped in manure before. So this is a war against reality. The whole Black Lives Matter thing, the whole Hillary, vote for me because I'm a woman, you bet I'm playing the woman card. All of this is a total fraud. Obama helped double black unemployment. And people say, why did he give less support to black neighborhoods than the other group? Because he's already got you under his thumb. He wants you like a pimp, wants you absolutely down and out under his control. This is a process. And the evil old Republican establishment is nakedly allied with the Democratic establishment and all the big foreign leaders and the Pope and the Communist Chinese and the Saudi Arabians that throw gay people off rooftops and chop their heads off, for heaven's sakes, and the Mexican president, all of them, the whole world against Trump. But I tell you, from Mexico and Chile and from Australia and Africa and all over, I see people on YouTube and on InfoWars saying, I'd support Trump. I see right through it. He's a nationalist. He's a sovereign person that wants you to be wealthy. Absolutely. It's so clear. That's why they're scared of him. So the people across the board are waking up and seeing what's happening. Populism is rising across the planet. I'm going to come back and play this special message to Donald Trump and to the American people where I lay out just some of the evidence of this. But when you see the things they're doing and everything's being engaged in and the lies and the misrepresentations, just like I see ads online and I see it on broadcast, people saying, I'm voting against Donald Trump because he's anti-gay. Hillary Clinton, I mean, it's actually something conservatives should be mad at Trump for, if you want to go the Cruz route. But he didn't go that direction, criticizing Trump. Trump was in the advocate for equal rights and people being able to get married 30 years ago. Trump's never made that his issue, and in his own nomination speech made that clear. They don't care. They are on. I see it everywhere saying Donald Trump wants to bring back black segregation. We got a new video of that we're going to play. They've got people saying he wants to go after gay people. It's just total BS. He wants to ship blacks back to Africa. All he said was, if we're not vetting anybody coming in from Syria, and we don't even check their IDs, we got to stop all of it till we start the vetting process again. That's like if gas is leaking in your house, you turn the gas off until it's fixed. Or if your pipe bursts, you go turn the water off. First he said, they're murdering Christians. We got to bring them in. They went, excuse me, sir, they don't let Christians in. It's 20% Christian in Syria, but it's 0.3% Obama lets in. These are ISIS. And he went, excuse me? And did a 180. Not in a flip-flop, but when he got more info. So again, it is an inverted reality. Donald Trump wants to cut taxes. Donald Trump knows we have one-sided deals with China and India and over 160 other third-world countries. We're falling apart. The Wall Street Journal admits that this is the worst recovery in our history and that our economy is falling apart. And that's with cooked numbers. The Wall Street Journal looks at the fake numbers that every major economist admit are fake. The unemployment numbers, the inflation numbers, the welfare numbers. 7 years later, recovery remains the weakest of the post-World War II era. We've been in a long-term depression for most people, a recession for others, and tiny groups of elites have never made bigger profits. The big banks never made bigger profits. The insurance companies never made bigger profits. And you notice who the big banks, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, and the big insurance companies are financing. They're not giving $1 to Donald Trump. Big Pharma, 0 to Donald Trump. The defense contractors, nothing to Trump because he was against the Iraq war. And he's not for attacking people that aren't attacking us. That's why they call him a warmonger to the left. And you have these pseudo-intellectual leftists brought up without families, desperate, scared. All they've got is their trendiness. They felt like nerds. The system packaged being a nerd as the new cool. And now they've given up any intellectualism just to feel official and powerful and cool when the whole power structure is against Donald Trump. And Donald Trump now says he's taking the gloves off. Well, that's good. Because when we come back, we're going to talk about the #1 way to stop the New World Order, and we can do it. It's called a landslide. And the polls show Trump's really set for a landslide. That's why Reuters has been caught faking polls to try to reverse that. Every globalist, every New World Order operator is activating right now and showing their true colors. The Washington Post, the Financial Times of London, The Economist magazine, and scores of others in the last week have all come out and said the New World Order, they use that term, is in trouble. World government is in trouble. Liberal global governance is in trouble. That's a new term. They're calling it liberal. And they say, we're going to open the borders up, and we're going to give the third world all these free goodies. And so that's who we're going to represent. That's how we're going to end the republics, the limited democracies, is we're going to bring in outside groups to outvote you. And the Trump campaign is resisting that. It's the end of sovereignty. It's the end of nation states. It's the end of being able to run somewhere It's a global government. And they go on in The Economist, in an article titled The New Political Divide, to say, all of our hopes are in Hillary Clinton. We must get her in office or world government is in trouble. Go read the article. It's on screen for TV viewers. We're simulcasting at Infowars.com/show, as we always do. But here's the AP, just to set the table of what we're fighting. Pope too young on Poland trip. Believe in a new humanity. Transhumanism. Krakow, Poland, AP. Pope Francis encouraged hundreds of thousands of young people at a global gathering Sunday to believe in a new humanity, close quote, that is stronger than evil and refuses to see borders or barriers. And, of course, he wants wealth redistribution, but not from the Vatican Trust, the richest institution on the planet. He doesn't want to bring refugees into where he is. He washes the feet of Muslims, but he doesn't wash the feet of people blown up by suicide bombers or their families. But notice he says, refuse to see. Refuse to see. That's delusion. God wants us to have knowledge and understanding. The devil dumbs it all down where it's just feelings and buying into, I refuse to see. He wants you to refuse to see and just, walk off the cliff like Thulsa Doom in Conan the Barbarian. He says, steel isn't strong, boy. Flesh is stronger. See that little girl up there on the crag, up there at the cliff. Come to me, my child. And she just jumps off and kills herself. And that's what he says. Don't see anything. Don't see who runs the global government, the IMF and World Bank, and the new global carbon tax. Don't see the plans they have. Don't see how the megabanks exempt themselves from taxes. Just don't see borders. Remember, he said he was nauseated by Christianity and colonialism and people complaining about how Europe was a Christian area and bring in more migrants to rape and kill and give them everything free because Pope Francis is an order globalist. They blackmailed the last pope to step down with sex scandals. That was even the London Guardian. And they brought in a Jesuit communist pope. World government's making its move. Now, I'm going to come back from break. Roger Stone is spending, I believe, a full hour with us. Former Trump campaign head. His business partner, Mr. Manafort, is the current head of the campaign. Stone likes to play down his importance and his role, but obviously it's quite the opposite. And his initiatives mesh with mine on how to defeat the globalist. I see the guy's totally truth-based. That's why they call him the big liar and the dirtiest trickster ever and the rest of it. But he concurs with my analysis. We had long meetings this weekend. Well, Friday and Saturday on the phone. And he agrees we need to make the central issue election fraud. So we're going to play this special report. And then I'm going to come back and break down how they're already doing it in different ways. It's not just stealing it the day of. It's what they do before. And if we know about it, people now accept that Hillary's so crooked and evil and corrupt, it'll blow up in her face. Let's go to this report when we come back from break, because I won't have time to do it now. But Trump's genius is that when they try to bully him, he realizes the dinosaur media isn't dominant anymore because he is able, pun intended, to trump them because of his incredible star appeal, the gravitas, the fact that they can't ignore him. Though they try to distill down clips of his speeches that aren't as powerful. And then that gives the media little sniblets they can cut out, little giblets to misrepresent what he's saying. But when you will sit there and watch him give a beautiful, rambling, from the heart, 2-hour speech, I mean, he gives like 4 or 5 of these a week. Sometimes like 10-hour-long ones. And I hate missing them. I sit there with my children around the dinner table, which we never used to do, and, have the computer over there, and I just say, listen to this. He does some colloquial stuff about the locals and their businesses and their lives, just to humanize things. But when he gets into the era of economic surrender's over, Hillary's a communist Chinese spy, she is. I mean, I talk to retired, and I mean recently retired, top generals, and they go, no, look, I can't tell you what's going on. Go read this news article. It's got it right. And I go read the article, and it's Hillary Clinton's a communist Chinese spy. or I talk to top people. You hear a lot of them on the air, not Cy Hirsch, you name it. But people just say, go read this news article. That's accurate. And you go read the news article, and it's Matt Bracken saying they're planning a Tet 2 offensive in the fall. And this is a year ago, and now you see it happening with Islamics. They're strongly considering activating Black Lives Matter, having false flags where massive numbers of innocent blacks are killed, and trying to cause a race war. We told you that a long time ago. Obviously, you can see that too. All of us see this. But they're really got a lot of different agendas going and are strongly considering creating such a crisis. Obama could suspend the election, or we're in such turmoil when they have the election that people are distracted that Trump's had the election stolen, from him by cities burning. The New World Order is making its move. Now, I want to play a clip first as we go to break from Trump earlier this week. And I happen to know for a fact that the Trump campaign, whenever it came out that the Russians had supposedly hacked his emails, and from my sources, it is the Russians. And it shows Hillary that these are the emails she wouldn't give over to the FBI earlier. But it also shows the DNC in there stealing the election from Sanders, sending protesters to Trump, which they denied, and having them dress up like Sanders supporters and saying, we don't care what happens, we've got the superdelegates. It's proof of the fraud. Thank God they're doing that. They realize America's being occupied by a political, corporate, globalist coup that wants to attack Russia. So it's in Russia's interest and in our interest to have this exposed. Globalism is where you're conquered by big mega banks. So when we come back, we've got this clip first, and then his report. My report, but we have clips of Trump, warning of election fraud that is so important. But Trump countermanded his advisors and people that had come out and denied it was Russians earlier on, and came out and said, I don't know who it is. I'm not talking to the Russians. By the way, he's not. But if you got Hillary's emails, the ones she deleted, release them, she's a criminal. He just doubled down. He owned it. He's such a leader, and that's why they're scared of him. He wants to save this country, folks. That's why the whole power structure is going after Donald Trump. Shame on anyone that doesn't vote for him. So here are the headlines. After non-endorsement, will Texans stand by U.S. Senator Cruz as the establishment media tries to get the never Trump people to either not vote or vote for Hillary or write his name in so Donald Trump loses? They'll probably do it. I mean, they're very proud of themselves. Pat Caddell blasts Reuters back-rigging polls to show Clinton up. They've been caught just engaged in fraud, basically. Speaking exclusively to Breitbart News, political polling pioneer Pat Caddell said the Reuters news service was guilty of an unprecedented act of professional malpractice after it announced Friday it was dropping the neither option from their presidential campaign tracking polls, and then went back to reconfiguring previously released polls to present different results with a reinterpretation of the new neither. And again, that's to get rid of the closeted Trump supporters I keep talking about. That's the big secret. The big secret weapon is that we've never seen so many closeted people that are ashamed to say they're voting for Trump. But we know they're there. The numbers show it. And so that's why Hillary and others are so scared right now, and why they're having Reuters go back in time over the last 2 weeks where Trump surged 7 to 10 points ahead in scientific polls across the board, and it still shows that. Trump's ahead in all the other big polls. But Reuters went back in time and memory hold it and is changing it to take out the neither and tweak stuff and just give it to Hillary. Some cases are giving her like 7 points they're adding on. I mean, this is putting your finger on the scale. But they stole the election in at least 10 states from Sanders. He's the admitted winner. The Guardian reports, not even my wife knows, secret Donald Trump voters speak out. Oh, yeah. And that's why this is going on. So this is a big, big deal. Now, I'm going to play this clip because I mentioned it of Trump saying, hey, I don't know the Russians, but, yeah, they've got emails of Hillary doing corrupt stuff. Please release more. Absolutely. Who cares if it comes from the Easter Bunny? Don't change the subject. You deleted the emails. You wouldn't give the FBI the emails. You lied about it all. Let's see what's in there. But we know what's in there. And the word is, I'm afraid the Russians and others, there's others, are going to be releasing all the goodies, Hillary. That's why they're getting ready to start a race war or a class war with all the communists right now. That's what cops every couple of days getting shot in the back of the heads about. Again, the establishment's pulling out the stops, folks. Let's go ahead and play that clip.
What do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. He doesn't respect our president. And if it is Russia, which is probably not, nobody knows who it is, but if it is Russia, it's really bad for a different reason, because it shows how little respect they have for our country when they would hack into a major party and get everything. But it would be interesting to see. I will tell you this. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press. Let's see if that happens. That'll be next. Yes, sir.
God in heaven, please give us Donald Trump. That's why the elite hate him. They've brought in all these crooks, all these globalists, all these special interests. They're carving the country up. They've already sold out 87% of our industry compared to what we had in the 1960s. They preside over selling our deals. Pacharia, from one of the richest families in India, the head of the UN Climate Fund at the time, 6-7 years ago, did a carbon deal with England where he got the Brits to give up their final steel mills that were powered by coal plants that were clean. And here's the best part. He had them pay in a carbon indulgence to build a dirty plant his son owned in India worth over $500 million. Donald Trump isn't going to do that. That guy is so hard-nosed with him as a negotiator for this country. I've seen these videos of architects and people bitching. I actually went into the research. Oh, I built a clubhouse for Trump. And then he only gave me like 20% of what I was supposedly. No. You said it'd be one price, then it ballooned. Trump hard-nosed you. You agreed to it. That's how business works. I mean, I get distributors on the line and I say, I'm not going to carry your product anymore. It's really good. It's really low price. But I got somebody else basically as good. They'll go lower and allow me to sell it even lower. I only want to make 20, 30% on this. So I'm the dominant person in the field and then I can fund myself. And they go, no, we're not. And I say, okay, I'm leaving then. And you know what? They call me up a week later and say, okay, we'll do that deal. But you got to private label it. And I'm not bashing our great sponsors. They're wonderful people. You can get the super high quality, best storable foods out there. Today's the day it ends. 40% off at InfoWarsStore.com. 40% off. You notice I can only offer that like once a year before. I'm just twisting arms. But that's what I do. I'm sorry the other distributors and the other sellers don't like it. That I'm selling it for lower prices. I'm a capitalist. Get used to it. I'd rather sell 5 million hamburgers with a lower profit per one and make way more. It's not rocket science. I'm an American. Get used to it. Sorry nobody wants to compete. Sorry nobody wants to deal with me. Same thing with Donald Trump. So, we've got sales on all the nutraceuticals, the water filters, the air purifiers, all the great quality products that we've researched that I personally use, that we give you the very best deals you're going to find anywhere. 40% off Brain Force, the nootropic, colloidal silver, antibiotic, natural antibiotic, and so much more. X2, Super Male Vitality. Take advantage of it. It ends today. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll free. 888-253-3139. And I want to thank all the listeners, all the viewers that have really supported us in the last 4 or 5 days that we've had this fundraiser mega sale going. Because we have brought in the capital I need to know that I can budget continuing on into next year with the crew I have and to get additional camera people, editors, and reporters. It's about what we wanted. We actually exceeded our targets a little bit. But I'm a gutsy guy. I have dumped everything in this year because everything's on the line. So now we've just budgeted where I can safely get a few more crew so we're not walking around 18 hours a day here cross-eyed. We're so exhausted. I mean, and I'm not complaining. Let me tell you, I'm animated. I was so upset Friday and Saturday that I was up here late Friday night. I was up here yesterday, basically, for most of the day. People say, well, aren't you with your kids? I was with them in the morning. I was with them at night. I was with them today. I'm in a war, folks. I mean, I'm up here shooting special reports, doing investigations, going back and collating all the polls, all the research numbers, what state was stolen, where they tried to steal it to give it to my investigative journalists, because I got some great writers and great folks, but quite frankly, when you see a lot of these articles on InfoWars, it's me. I'm sending links. I'm giving them the data dump. I'm giving them the dossier and saying, do this report. And they go out and dig up even more stuff than I found. And I'm not bragging, but let me tell you, you do not have someone more savagely committed. And listen, I have a great gut. I have a great sixth sense that God gave me. And I was there today with my children on the Greenbelt swimming. And I know they need me. I'm the guy that takes care of them. And I knew that what I'm doing with Hillary and what I'm doing focusing on election fraud, because there's been deaths of DNC, the head DNC guy, over outreach that said it was fraud against Sanders. He was executed. They're covering that up. DNC election fraud whistleblower found murdered. Another guy got murdered. I will never commit suicide. I don't use drugs. They'll grab you and shoot you up with heroin or whatever and kill you. If they claim I have a heart attack at 42, I'm in great shape. I've been to the doctor. I have good blood pressure. I have just everything's good. My sugar is borderline. It's not borderline diabetic. It's got my blood tested again 2 weeks ago. It's borderline. It's a little high, but I got great health. And if anything happens to me, I was murdered. But listen, I'm not bitching and complaining. I'm going to check out of here someday anyways. I'm one of those guys that is committed. I'm alive. I'm so alive, I'm ready to give it all up for my family and for you. Because I don't like scum. I don't like con artists. I don't like filth. And I know they're better men than them and better women. We're going to beat them. So support us. Pray for us. They're trying to condition us that Hillary can have hundreds of scandals and it's okay. Can you imagine what she'll do once she's in office? But it does show the arrogance of the establishment, because I'm not putting a good face on this, that we've had reporters, as well as myself, all over the United States the last year for this election. You've seen them. On the radio, you've heard them, where we have our reporters everywhere. And everybody talks about this online. And my mother was talking about this yesterday to me. And she used to be a Democrat. She's more of a libertarian. Most of her friends are hardcore liberals, and they don't like Hillary Clinton. They hate her. And they don't know who they're going to vote for. They're saying they're going to vote for somebody else. So, where are they? And I'm not talking about, oh, well, you're in Texas, so that's Republican. I'm in Austin. It's about as globalist and liberal in the central city as San Francisco. And I don't see people down there that are supporting Hillary. Only in Tarrytown, which I cut through sometimes coming to work, if there's traffic jams on the highway, then I see Hillary signs all over the place. In an area where a 4-bedroom costs $2 to $3 million. It's as expensive as New York City. And they're all Democrats. And they run the show. And they're the ones getting fat off all this, off the special deals. They don't have to produce. They just sell off our industry, sell off our jobs. Let foreign banks come in and sell us derivatives. And the Democrats have gotten rid of all the laws banning loan sharking, where they can charge people 30, 40% interest in a month. It's really shameful. And folks, you know I cut my teeth attacking the Republicans. I hate the Republican establishment. They're against Trump, too. But Roger Stone's coming up. We'll take calls in the second half of the interview with him. I want to go to this Donald Trump video, and it's the first of many. Really the only day off around here is Saturday. We have a couple of reporters that write articles and post stories on Saturday, but that's our dead time. And I called 3 or 4 of the camera folks and editors, and the 4th guy answered, and Rob Jacobson, great guy. I said, Rob, been working here 15 years. I said, will you come in and shoot a video, edit it? I really need to shoot some videos. I need to work. We came up here and we worked about 7 hours yesterday. Not on just this, but other things. And I'm not bragging, but I'm saying that's how committed I am. I just can't sit here and watch Google delist Trump online and not even have him listed as a presidential candidate and defend it. Or Twitter block him, or polls being manipulated, or Republican RNC given 40% less airtime than the DNC was given on major networks. Or the fact that they're going to have 2 of the 3 debates now during primetime NFL football games, so that the Republican base doesn't get fired up. I mean, the fix is in. We must vote for Trump as a referendum against fraud. But Trump, I remember the media saying, he screwed up. He didn't lay down to the delegates, oh, the Republicans passed a rule that delegates matter, not voters. Voters never mattered, you silly goose. Silly kid. But he didn't go along with it, so it became his greatest asset. And that's what Trump's got to do now. I know they're concerned about election fraud. They're aware of it. They don't want to hype it too much as to discourage voters. But no. What you can't steal is a landslide. That's been proven. They're going to get caught. And Hillary's already engaged in election fraud with the illegals all over the country being given driver's license, and Democrats wanting to pass laws in a whole bunch of states. It's like 14 states last time I checked. Illinois, California, you name it. Vermont, of all places, to let illegals vote. Wow, you're not a citizen, but you get to vote. I mean, that is upside down world. She's engaged in all these frauds. She's crooked, Hillary. We know she's crooked. We know she's corrupt. She's already stolen the election. She's an illegitimate nominee. Trump's got to come out and say, erasing emails, stealing it from Bernie Sanders, and then put on the evidence, doing all this, having illegals vote. Americans need to vote for me in a landslide to support free and open elections because she's not an illegitimate nominee. People will call that bad sportsmanship. It's not bad sportsmanship if someone's a fraud. It's the truth. And orthodox Republicans are the ones been selling us out to the Democrats. And Donald Trump isn't one of those people. And his whole name and psyche and spirit is bound to this. And he knows what he's got to do. So my message to Donald Trump's on Infowars.com. Emergency message. Here it is, folks. Get it. Put it out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Copy it to your channel. Send it to other talk show hosts. Ask them to get involved and investigate. They've got Glenn Beck and Ted Cruz, the Bush operatives, telling Texans to don't vote for Trump. And in Texas, they got enough brainwashed people because Ted Cruz wore a cowboy hat to maybe give it to Hillary. Don't let Texas be the Benedict Arnold that helps slit the country's throat. That's just the saddest thing I ever heard of. And if that's the case, I can tell you, Texas has been conquered. Is there no end to the treachery? Is there no end to the evil? Here's Donald Trump. Alex Jones here with an extremely important message to Donald Trump, the people of the United States, the people of the world. Crooked Hillary Clinton has openly stolen the nomination of Bernie Sanders. Mr. Trump, I'm not going to lay things out here that you don't already know, but I am going to ask you to seriously think about making the issue of Hillary's election fraud in the primaries one of the central issues to defeating her in November. I have interviewed all the top election fraud experts, whether it's from low-level retail voter fraud or election fraud with the black box voting machines. And the evidence is clear. Only landslides can defeat major election fraud. And as your polls go up and up and up, 7-10 points against Hillary, as people learn how corrupt she is and how corrupt she has been, your numbers are only going to go up. They know you are the real leader. They know you should be the next president of the United States. And they're going to try to block you. When the mainstream media ridiculed Donald Trump and said he was a sore loser, that he shouldn't talk about Ted Cruz canceling elections and having voterless victories in the primaries, yes, it was sensational when he came out and said, I'm winning these states, but they're giving the delegates to Ted Cruz. In some cases, they would just cancel elections in many states and just give him all the delegates.
So we have a rigged system. So in Colorado, they were going to vote. And you saw what's happened in Colorado. It's one of the big things. It's a fix. Because we thought we were having an election, and a number of months ago, they decided to do it by, you know what, right? Right? They said, we'll do it by delegate. He said they're going to do it by delegate. Oh, isn't that nice? And the delegates were all there, all waiting. And the head guy, in fact, one of them tweeted out today or said today by mistake, and then they withdrew it, something to the effect, see, never Trump. Look what we did, never Trump. Because if I go to the voters of Colorado, we win Colorado.
Donald Trump wasn't intimidated. He came out and said, what do you mean? When I win a state, I should win the delegates. And they had to back down. Sanders didn't do that. And Hillary stole it from him.
But Bernie Sanders, I will say this, for the last 5 weeks, you turn on your television, Sanders wins. Sanders wins. Again, Sanders wins. Like 7 or 8 or 9, he keeps winning. And then you listen to the people and the pundits, and they say he has no chance of winning. I said, what's going on? Because you have super delegates. By the way, I think the Republicans have a worse system than the Democrats, but they have super delegates. It makes it impossible for a guy that wins to win.
It is imperative that the Trump campaign make this one of the central issues, because it only further documents the organized crime nature of Hillary Rodham Clinton and her crime family. If she stole the primary, she's going to try to steal the general election. So Donald Trump's already done the right thing in the primary. He didn't let the voters have their votes stolen. He didn't let himself and his family be robbed as well. He stood up and said no. And so now Donald Trump needs to really think about what he's going to do. But we have to think about what are we going to do to stop Hillary, who's already stolen the process, who's a fraudulent nominee, from stealing the general election. My message to the American people is this. All right, there's a couple more minutes to it. The video's up on Infowars.com. My emergency message to Donald Trump. Everybody needs to spread that video. We'll be back with the second hour. This is the answer for your children to totally absorb the multivitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, everything at once. Unveil Vitamin Mineral Fusion Advanced Multivitamin Formula, 30 servings, fruit punch flavored dietary supplement. It is simply amazing. InfoWarsLife.com.
There's a million different products like this out there that they're good in different ways. But this takes all of the vitamins, all of the essential amino acids, all of the essential compounds and minerals that you need, puts it into something that's great tasting as opposed to like clumpy, gross stuff. And you can put it in your drink every morning. I put it in my protein shake. It is the platinum standard, in my view, of multivitamins in terms of an advanced multi-drink vitamin.
The cleanest, the purest, new stuff had to be invented. That's why it took this long to even bring us something this good.
Some companies are going to take a small amount of vitamins and make it, so there's so much filler, it looks like there's a lot. This is ultra concentrated. We're not playing games here. Okay,
well, that's my philosophy. That's your philosophy.
Yeah,
I want to, but again, there's some great stuff out there.
Yeah,
and there's other,
No, of course, definitely.
There's other powders I promote at InfoWarsHealth.com. Yeah, they're excellent. I mean, there's some good stuff out there. This is just the very best we can bring you, and when you buy it, you support InfoWars, you support the reporters, you support yourself. Tell folks about some of these other things that are in this and why this is just this total, complete package for your body. Because, again, we didn't put the synthetic amino acids. We didn't put the synthetic vitamins. We put the plant-based, high-quality, clean, natural ingredients into this.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got your standard vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin E, the list goes on.
A huge amount of vitamin C, by the way. Tell folks about that.
1,000+% of your daily value, which is what you need. Because the, FDA guidelines, we all know about those. Zinc, magnesium, selenium, L-glutamine. Each one of these, you could go on for about 10 minutes about the benefits of these things. Alpha-lipoic acid, folic acid, calcium, and the list goes on. 34 other ones you can check out. Go to InfoWarsLife.com. The label's up there. You've got the entire ingredients list that you can neurotically examine for yourself. And just... By
the way, look on the other side, too, because we're showing people the... minerals and things. Let's look at the vitamins right there. All it's got in there. I mean, it's amazing.
Top left.
Again, if you're radio listeners, Infowars.com/show. Vitamin A has 4,333% from beta carotene and what's that other source? I just show this all the best sources.
Retinol. So you've also got your vitamin D at 1,000 IU, which is a large dose, actually. And you know what? Some people could say, well, isn't this competing with your other products? Well, yeah, you know what? We could be like some people and just take all the stuff that we sell also at InfoWarsLife.com and not put any of it, but then it wouldn't be a balanced formula, and we're not going to do that. And it might actually hurt us in the long run to put all the best stuff in here, but that's just the way we got to do it, because we can't start thinking like that.
So get them today, InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139.